Hey everybody, welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. We are working on this dump box today. We've got quite a bit of welding and patching to do on this dump box. First things first, so we gotta get this John Deere 120 dropped off. I am Mike, by the way. We are working for Dirt Perfect. Truck's already up and running. It started fine. No issues there. All right. Job site's actually down over the hill, but that road's pretty rough down there, so we're just going to offload at the top and walk it down. It was a beautiful fall morning though. So the bucket was in the bed of the truck. Apparently the GoPro wasn't recording. That's okay. This is what we're sneaking over now. This is the jib pole. Mike uses this to set trusses and stuff. I guess they're getting ready to sell this place, and Mike's supposed to come up here and clear trees all the way around. Kind of steep on the front side. I don't know where the septic system is though. Got an old scissor lift sitting here. Got an old spiral staircase sitting in the weeds over here, which has my interest. Definitely has my interest. Not very tall though, it doesn't go up too crazy high, but I believe I'll be making a phone call on that since they're trying to clean this place up and sell it. Fella might get lucky. Let's see if we can get this securement. There we go. There we go. It's the grunts, fellas. It's the grunts. So the idea is that once this comes off the edge, it just gently slides. You know, that's the idea. It's been a few weeks since I've been wrong about something more than twice in a day. Yeah, all right. Yeah, see? Easy peasy. Trying to get her shoved over and back plenty since she's out of the way. Pull her up just a little bit. All right, we're ready to go. Let's get this thing up to the shop. Don't hit the tires. Okay. A lot better. You can see why we're here. If you look real carefully, you can see, let me see if I can get it out. Here is evidence of the last welding repair. Come on, come here. There we go. There we go. The spray foam budget, we're just exceeding it. We should probably stop pressure washing at this point. We got one there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 23, 29. You know what'd be really cool? Imagine if this dude got a truck, cut it in half, added a third axle, like a lift axle on it, made his own triaxle with a brand new bed. You could haul more, it'd be in better shape, you wouldn't lose 7 tons on the way to the job site. It's just a thought. I don't know if he's considered that. That's going to allow me to run my leads and extension cords up underneath into the box there. Look at that. 7 tons of sunshine, huh? I really can't get over how dry it's been. It's pretty unreal. Oh, this is half a Ford Ranger and half a Subaru if you're new to the channel. I think you'll learn to like it. My welding leads are jumper cables on the backhoe right now. You know, we'll just delivery. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for this. I'm looking forward to it. So you can tell what we're looking at here. It's not the smoothest. It's been beat up pretty good. These ridges, that's tubing that runs towards the center frame that supports the skin of the box. This is where that's been rotted out all the way. And you can see there's spots like this where the actual skin of the bed is gone. And what you're seeing here is the top of that support tubing. Now this is just kind of a patch job. It's a get it done until he can get Lieutenant Dan finished up. And then one of two things is going to happen. He's either going to get a new box for this truck or he's going to sell it and somebody else is going to have to deal with it. That's going to be the two scenarios. Now I could go through and try to patch each one of these. Be kind of a pain in the butt. It also really would catch the dirt on the way out. And if that dirt gets caught at the bottom, it slowly just builds its way up the bed. And then you end up with a world of problems. I think on this back end, I think what's going to be the easiest thing, not necessarily the best thing, is to plate this to here. One, there's a pretty steady ridge right here. It's relatively flat. Be good for the plating. Two, he's got reinforcement plating on this side already. We can lay right into. And that would cover up those worst spots. It's like that on both of these rear corners. It's either do that or try to patch each one of these, and that's just going to be a nightmare. We're not going to be able to beat any of this flat. I'm not getting underneath and beating anything up to flatten it out. We're not putting that much effort into it, fellas. We're not. We're just trying to hold stuff in and make it last until Lieutenant Dan is done. So those are the two biggest patches we have to do on both sides. We'll start with those and target little stuff like that. You know, those we'll just throw a patch on. But let's just go ahead and let's just plate that all the way across. Or each one of those corners. We'll just plate that on both sides. think I got enough steel to do that. Then we can come in and thicken some of these spots up like they've already done there. By the way, wintertime shadows are not the most friendly for outdoor filming, so I do apologize for that. You may find this easy to believe, though. I don't have a tremendous amount of control over the sun. We're looking at something about 42. Think there's any stink bugs hiding in my jacket? My goodness. All right. And just go ahead and get rid of those. Thank you. Oh gosh. Hey, clean my tip a little bit. She's a little dirty. She's not cutting as nice as I'd like her to. I clean her up a little bit. Are you hot? Were you just on fire? We'll clean this up. Let's just slide her in. That's going to work for there. Obviously, we got to clean it up, but I kind of want to go in stages. I want to get all the torch work done, like all the pieces cut and where they go. Then we'll go to grinder work, get everything cleaned up, and then we'll go to welding. That way we're not jumping back and forth. This one's not quite as bad. We could probably be fine going to there. How big is this piece we got in here? So honestly, we need to reinforce this corner, clean this corner up. You can see it's punched through there. I can see daylight right there. Daylight right here. Of course, you see that there. So what we'll do, a super consistent line. Looks like they used a flat piece and then scored it. I can see the cut mark. Got a little bend there and scored that. Bent this up. They welded that cut in. They didn't weld that cut in though. Okay. I think right here, I'm just going to go ahead and plate that all the way across here over like that. So I got all the edges on everything cleaned up and cleaned up where it's going to weld in. It's not as clean as I would like it to be. But with all the pitting from the rust, if I took a grinding wheel and made it perfectly smooth, clean metal, I don't know if I'd have any metal left. So I don't want to get too crazy with it. I was using these Benchmark Abrasives flap wheels. I was kind of hoping the flap wheel would get down in those holes and kind of dig some of that stuff out a little bit without taking too much of my material away. I think it did an okay job. We'll be fine. The next step, I've already got the marks on here. We're going to score these on the back side. And this piece right here, I'll give it just a little, it's not going to go as high as my mark. It's just going to give you a little bit of a return right there. And then that allows us to match that skin in that corner. And I'm using Benchmark Abrasives. These are their 4 times. It's supposed to last 4 times as long as the regular cutoff wheel. So we'll put that to the test. By the way, Benchmark Abrasives did send me this stuff to try out full disclosure, they're not partnering with me on this job though. They're partnering with me on a different thing. Here I'll show you, which is engine, drivetrain, front half to there, Subaru Outback, and cab, front steer axle of a Ford Ranger. Steer head and steer axle. We're trying to use a winch to make a little four-wheel steer side by side out of nothing but scrap material. And there's a little new steel. Nothing but, you know, a whole bunch of scrap. They're partnering with me on that, but I think they'll be okay if we use some of their stuff on Dirt Perfect's equipment. Hopefully you could hear me over the welder on that. So, real talk, this is a regular cutting blade, Benchmark Abrasives, Type 1 cutting wheel. And honestly, it took me 4 blades to do these 2, and it took me 4 of these blades to do these 2, and that one right there. I'm not saying that other blade's not a bad cutoff wheel. I think it does a good job, but I don't think it's any better than their regular cutoff wheel. So I think I'll probably just stick with buying their standard cutoff wheel. I'm sure they'll love hearing that. This is why sponsors don't like working with me. We'll get this all picked up, and then in the morning, we'll be on to welding and beating and banging. Put my $5 flea market sledgehammer to the test. I am going to disconnect the battery before we get started here, but I want to show you something. People talk about how we need to clean our batteries all the time because you'll get a ghost draw, and they're right. They're 100% right, and I'm going to show you on a voltmeter. We're just, listen, who am I to talk about cleaning batteries? That we never do. I never clean them, but we should. This is why this truck's always dead. I'll show you post to post here. 12.2 volts, 12.3. But all the dirt, all this grease, all this debris, that draws current out of the battery too. I'm just on the ground over here and just sitting on the dirt. So you can see as we jump around, depending on where we put it on top of the battery, we're getting voltage readings, which is pretty crazy. So it is important to keep top of your battery clean. Pretty wild. Hopefully nothing there. That'd be a bad day, huh? There you go, 9.1, 8.8, 2.1, 10.4. We shouldn't have voltage out in this area. So there's your reminder. Keep your batteries clean. Don't be like me. You know, it's not a good look. So this rain's supposed to be out here in just a couple hours, and it's just a real light sprinkling. Like I said, I'm not going to complain. We've been needing it bad. So you're going to get some sneak peekage because since this is under roof, I'm going to mess with the four-wheel steering concept. Step 1, we're going to see if we can figure out how to get this spool off of this motor. Well, that was easy enough. Some of you might be wondering why I just don't go to Mike's shop. And he did call. He's like, hey, I got an opening in the shop. There's room right now if you need to back that in. I said, man, I appreciate that. And I'll take it into consideration. But it just comes down to money, if I'm being 100% honest. If I work in Mike's shop, then there's the hourly arrangement for my wage there, or how we work that out. If I work in my shop, then the shop has an hourly arrangement, and one of those is more than the other. And although I love having all these tools, the welder and grinders and all the wearable items or expendable items like that, it's a fun hobby, but it's a pretty expensive hobby. So it's nice to get a few jobs that help you pay for that. I think I'm just going to take this cable off of here. told you. A little spring in there. All right. This is kind of the piece I'm after, because that slides into the planetary like that. We're doing this whole investigation with nothing but hammers today. All right, so you want to see something crazy? The rain is let up. Hopefully that box dries out soon. We can get back to it. But you want to see something crazy? I was just looking at this part. This is what slides in here. And I was just like, man, it looks awfully similar. How lucky could we get? Okay, so that's the part that goes right there. Okay. All right. Right. And that will go like that. Right? Huh? And then that gets mounted back on the plate, and that gets welded to that. Listen, I know it's not perfect, and you can buy power steering things like this for like $700, $800 that are electric. But I think for a $60 Amazon winch, it's worth throwing some welds on and trying out. Not today, but I believe she's got some potential. Unreal. All right, the rain has quit. Brought a bunch of shop rags over to dish, not bad. I think that'll work. There's that one. I'm not messing with the slag much today as far as cleaning it off, because it'll clean itself off as it gets loaded up with dirt and stuff. We're not going to waste a bunch of time doing that. I had to take, there's a little bit of a gap on this side, so I had to take quite a bit of the plate for material to flow down and fill that in. But all right, let's do this little feller next. So the plan here is to weld along the top side and then heat our creases with the torch. Try to get it to bead into place how we need it. I shouldn't say weld the whole top side, just some really heavy tacks. Some really heavy tacks there.
that worked okay. Just kind of threw that together. I saw MCF Welding, a little welding channel that I follow. He has a whole bunch of these. He made a little video about, you know, basic tools to have when you're starting out. I think I kind of threw this together because this is what I had laying around. A bolt would work better, threaded all the way down. But I'm going to go ahead and I like where I'm at. We'll weld there, there, and there, and then we can start working our way down and pull that end in. That's going to save me a lot of trouble though. Very slick. Should be able to back this off, clean that little gap with the wire wheel a bit. There we go. Beautiful. Need to make like 10 of these things, 20 of them maybe.
So definitely some learning lessons on these pieces here. I did a few things different on the next one. The biggest mistake I made on this, there's two things I did different. For whatever reason, I threw a tack on one end, and I threw a tack like 2/3 of the way down. I don't know why I didn't do both corners. And you can see that opposite end towards the top of the screen kind of starting to walk on me a little bit. So it took quite a bit of effort and a little bit more gas than I expected torch-wise to get that bend into place and fit how I want it. Once I got that in, I was able to run welds down the top and the bottom. Everything looked pretty good. I was happy with the way she fit in. And then on the second one, we're going to do a couple things different. Using that little clamp to kind of pull it down, which was very, very helpful. I'm going to have to make several of those because that was a lifesaver. It made it quite a bit easier to get everything pulled how I wanted it. So on the next one, I ended up taking the grinder and deepening up those score marks on the back so it would bend just a little bit easier for me. And then I ended up doing 4 stitches, 1 on each end and then 2 in the middle, as equal as I could. It took a lot less torch work to get that bend to happen and fit in place quite a bit faster, quite a bit easier. I'd say that second one took about 1/3 of the time as what the first one did, just because I kind of had her figured out at that point. The only downfall to widening out those score marks like that is I did have to run a bead down on top of those cuts. It just felt like that score mark was going to be too thin and it was going to, you know, possibly kind of break out. You could see a little bit of a line whenever I was running the torch heating it up. So I did end up having to run a bead all the way down those cut marks. So that added a little bit more time, but even with that, you know, I think it was still quite a bit faster. It was definitely less labor intensive. And overall, I'm definitely happy with the way it turned out. It took a little bit more effort to try to get this to tie in. I had to make a few notches, get it beat down into place. But all in all, honestly, pretty happy with it and can't complain.
So this inside corner, this is done. Tie-in looked like a robot kind of threw up right there, but I think it'll do the task just fine. I did run a couple beads right down there where that one bend is. It just felt a little thin. Like I was kind of saying on the time lapse, by cutting that out, saved me time in bending, but it cost me a little bit in there. So 6 to 1, 2 times 3 to the other. That's how she looks there. This is the next piece. I'd like to go ahead and try to get that corner on and finish today out. Rain snuck up on me. I've got everything put away where it needs to go. Like I said, I'm not even mad. I hope it does this all night. We needed it something fierce, fellas. But everything's going really well in there. Pretty happy with it. Let's see, we got getting some good penetration here. That's fantastic.
This is kind of the biggest welding job that I've ever done. It's not even really that big of a job for anybody that kind of does this stuff, so I'm not bragging about anything, but it's the biggest one I've taken on yet, and I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going pretty well. I told Mike I was hoping for 16 hours total. That includes all the welding, and then there's an air valve we got to replace on the next video as well, down in the bowels of this beast. So I was hoping for 16 hours total, and I'm right at about 8 on everything, if you include all the pressure washing and all of that. So I'm pretty happy with it. I think we're right on track. So the next video, which will be Sunday, this should be Thursday's video. The next video, we'll be right back on this thing, getting it finished up in the air valve, and then we'll be back onto the backhoe. I'm actually going to pick up the head for the backhoe tomorrow, and that was the last thing I'm waiting on. We got new rings, we got new injectors. I talked to Area Diesel Service about the injector pump. We've got a plan there. We've got a lot of good parts to put on this, and I'm excited to get that Ford backhoe back together. This poor feller right here. Hopefully we can get her back together and see if she actually starts for us now. That does remind me, by the way, Dirt Perfect and I were just talking last night on the phone. Every now and then we get these comments of, hey, it's great to see you. Haven't seen you post a video in a long time. Mike and I post regularly, very regularly, in fact, for Dirt Perfect. I believe he posts every other day. And if not every other day, he will make a message like, hey, I'm gonna, miss an upload. I post every Thursday and every Sunday. And if something comes up, if I'm not gonna make an upload in time, I always give you a fair heads up on the previous video. But we post on a very regular schedule. So if you wake up and you don't have a notification for one of our videos, just go to the channel. It's there, I promise you. He's at 6 a.m. every other day. I'm at 5:55 a.m. because I'm competitive every Thursday and Sunday. So we're always there, always having content for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying the channel. I hope you're enjoying this kind of work, and I hope you're excited for the backhoe, because it's about to get real. Exciting or disappointing, because, who knows it at this point. All right, that's it. That's all I got. See you guys later. Thanks for watching.